through, fumbling through, fumbling through, fumbling through, fumbling through.
Buenos dias, delvers of dungeons and denizens of the deep, and welcome to Fumble Through.
Fumble Through.
A podcast that changes its alignment more than its robes. So summon your familiar, loosen your components pouch, and conjure up a comfy spot, because it's time to play improvisational make-believe, talk nerd, and roll dice to let fate take control. Speaking of someone who loves a good fate,
follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We still haven't gotten Henry Cavill on this show yet.
nor have we actually tried.
Give it a chance. That
Has
wasn't that
anyone
long ago.
around this table even done anything
Yeah,
to make that go?
I have.
I've
Yeah,
looked at his
okay.
Instagram,
I've texted him.
Okay. At henrycavill.com?
No, that's an email
Okay.
and a website. I texted him. I just went to the white pages and went, Henry Cavill, do you want to play? He went, who dis?
New phone. Who dis? I did start looking and thinking, okay, who can we approach first as that 6 degrees of separation? Because let's start with someone close to home. Warm up with somebody else,
Ooh,
and
like
then
an Australian
Hugh
Henry
Jackman.
Cavill.
yeah. Oh yeah, Hugh Jackman. That's a small get.
Who is the nerdiest Australian actor that we know?
Nerdiest.
I don't know any actors.
I know a lot of Australian actors that are nerdy.
Okay, well, let's get one of them on and we'll see if they know Henry Cavill.
They don't.
Yeah.
Actually,
Oh, no, that's a thinking face.
I found
don't
it.
like it. He's
I've got
broken.
it.
You got it?
yeah,
All
I've got
right.
it.
Stay tuned for the future of what are we calling this segment? Let's get Cavill.
I'm just going to say this word.
Call in the cavalry.
Oh, yes.
Oh, nice. He's never going to come.
Yeah. Well,
Call in the cavalry. Nice. I like that. Nice touch.
and with that, it's time once again for us to dredge the depths of our minds and argue about things that just don't matter. That's right. It's time for this week's Dicey Question. Hashtag Dicey Question. As always, if you have a suggestion for Dicey Questions, send a carrier pigeon through social media or just drop a bottle in the ocean and hope the tides are right. This week's question goes a little something like this. What is your least favorite classes and character options?
Did you just say selection of a dicey question?
Did I say something?
Something like that, wasn't it? It rhymed. Whatever you said rhymed.
Are you actually listening to me?
Sorry, what was the question?
The question is,
There we go.
what is your least favorite classes and character options? So in the player's handbook, what are your least favorite things? I was going to write what are your least favorite races, but I thought about it.
touchy.
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, character options. So what are things you probably don't gravitate towards or things that you've never played before? Like that's where I thought when this question was around.
So I don't think I have a least favorite. I actually love the idea of learning to play certain classes because, like, I think I've said this in the past in New Year's episode where I would love to be able to play a charming character charming because that's not what what I am in real life, or an intelligent character more intelligent than I can possibly imagine.
Oh, sorry.
You know?
I didn't mean to laugh out loud.
The look. Oh, if only we could capture that.
It's in the same way I'd like to play a thin character.
I don't like playing with Justin's characters. Justin's characters, I've never met a nice one of Justin's characters. They all have an asshole.
You don't end
Because
up,
I don't
you don't
create
end up,
nice characters.
you don't end up playing with them for long.
The characters usually die because my characters give such good suggestions.
Anyway, I struggle with magic users. He says playing a magic user.
Why is that?
I don't know. I much prefer beating someone with something heavy, like I want to do to Justin right now, than I would casting my spell and wiggling fingers. And shit.
Right.
I don't
That's on record that Lindsay wants to beat me.
Good.
Better than beating you on.
What?
I don't know.
What just happened?
Thankfully, nothing.
It was dubious in my head, but I thought I'll give it a shot. There's always a delete button.
Did that rhyme? What was the question again? Luke?
So I would have to agree with the magic users. Yeah, wizards, anything like that. Anything with low hit points. That's the
Anything
thing.
that's
Yeah.
not a monk.
Okay.
No, I hate monks as well.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we can see that. He's full of self-loathing.
Yeah, anything with low hit points is a worry for me because I just have a natural urge to always get into combat whenever I'm playing. So
What's a monk's hit dice?
yeah, better than a wizard's.
Okay. Is it
It's D8. Yeah,
Okay.
not a D6.
Yeah, fair enough.
I had this idea the other day when I was thinking about Reg, right? This is a little bit off
Don't
topic.
play my character.
But I actually love the idea
Yeah, no one around this table's doing that.
of Reg having multiple classes, but played like a character that is either one, split personalities,
Multiple personalities.
or two, really unsure of who he is and what he like, really unsure of himself. He's like, why am I even here? What am I even doing with my life?
I like the idea of the multiple personalities, like all of a sudden just in that, it's complete character switch entirely kind of thing. Or even a character that has head that rotates. There was that He-Man character that had the faces that rotate.
They just used to spin around, and be different people.
That's Triclops, wasn't it?
Yeah, some of the
There was one with an
or
eyeball,
something.
but there was another one that he actually rotated the whole head.
Yeah.
Like the face, it was in a helmet, and it was just a face piece that rotated around.
Okay.
Oh.
What about you, Brett?
Funnily enough,
Yes.
it's a class that has unlimited spells every day because, geez, that's hard work to go, all right, today I'm going to learn. Oh, I'm level 14 and there's 200 spells to pick from. And what am I going to need today?
You are not. I think you're about to say my favorite class.
Well, no, but that's a cleric, right? Or a wizard. So I like the sorcerer because you make the choice once and you're stuck with it. You've got one moment to make the choice and you've got to get it right.
Oh, I hate that.
The amount of work every day, like in a game where you might go 3 or 4 days on a session, that you have to rewrite that bloody spell list and pull it out. And so I had a cleric and she had a whole heap of that, as well as Summon Monster, which was another kind of expansive pick from list. It would do I love playing the character.
That build was flipping awesome.
I love the character, but the work entailed in that.
Anything that
so
summons
heavy
is very work intensive.
So it was 7 levels of spell, plus summons at each of those level, plus expanded summons, which was a whole nother list. Plus then you need to, what's that thing when you summon them and they're enhanced?
Yeah, you've got
augmented summoning, and then there's celestial with Bane and blah. It's like, ugh. So I've got a book there with creatures now. I've named them all.
I remember
got augmented, got all of that stuff. Because it was
that's a character
so hard.
that you least like playing.
No, the class, class of character is very, very onerous.
Yeah.
And that work detracts a little bit from
your enjoyment.
The enjoyment of the game because it's so much kind of mechanics attached to it.
See, I feel like Druid's the same with the wild shape, but I think, again, something that could be awesome character concept. No one's stealing my concept ideas here. If I see a podcast have my concept ideas, I'm going to be angry.
Simpsons did
I want
it.
to see a druid that lives in the city. So when they get wild shape, you literally only have a list of animals you've seen because you've never left the city before.
Cockroach.
I reckon that'd be amazing.
Domestic cat.
Domestic cat.
Whatever you fight in the campaign is the only animals you can turn into because they're the only things you know as a creature. I reckon
Yeah, that's
that'd be
pretty
awesome.
cool.
Something like Kudzu,
Mm.
who only turned into rats and
Rat swarm.
and had rat swarms and stuff. It's really interesting listening to this because you've all sort of picked spellcasters, and I think mine is the same, but for very different reasons.
I was going to flip because I also don't like playing fighters because I find them very
Got
one
vanilla
track.
fighters.
It's right. It's like, all right, what'll I do? I'll go and hit him. All right, how will you hit him? Hard.
See,
But you pour a lot more into the actual character there with that.
yeah, but I also think that's very like a fighter. You can build. The 4 of us could probably build a fighter at this table, and all 4 of us would have a different take on it. You can
we know
a
Luke
ranged
couldn't do
fighter.
that.
No, he'd build an unarmed strike. It'd just be a monk.
Too easy.
But the fighter is
Brawler.
so versatile, and I know people go, "Oh, the fighter," but they are such versatile characters that you can actually go, "Well, I'm going to play a strength-based, sword and board guy." Sure, but you can also play a very dexy kind of 2-weapon fighty kind of guy, and you can pick it up. The problem with the fighter is the lack of skill points that don't make them hugely versatile, but there are some archetypes you can pick for that.
Don't you find the fighter outside of a fight nothing?
No.
Well, I suppose with the skills as well, all you got to do is put a fair bit into intelligence.
Oh,
And then you get the extra
But then
skill
you
points,
do.
right?
So it depends on whether you want to be an effective fighter, though. So what are you giving up to make the intelligence work? Are you giving up strength or con or dex,
Wisdom.
which is
Yeah, but if you go for a dex based, you're already
Sure.
helping yourself on the defensive front, aren't you, with your AC?
and you get the feats to cope with it.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
but
just-
I
that's
feel
the
I feel
type-
another challenge coming
No,
on here.
that's
Each do a-
defining
each
the
do a
type of
fighter.
fighter, though, right?
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess that's the detraction for most characters or character classes. But for me, it's not about the way it plays. Like a lot of you have gone spellcaster because they're very difficult and there's onerous and you've got to choose spells and all that kind of stuff. And I don't mind that as much. What I don't like is when I can't connect to a character, and the character class I connect with the least is the druid. I've never really gone, oh, I really like the idea of a character that turns into an animal or has an animal companion. Even if I play a ranger, I generally don't choose the animal companion. I think it's because I don't like animals that much. I'm scared of them.
Two things to play at the table, right?
Well, it's not even the crunching of it, because I get, one of my favorite characters is Dritz, so he's got an animal companion. But for me, the idea of turning into an animal or having that nature kind of connection, even thinking about characters like Swamp Thing or whatever, they're not characters that resonate with me. The other type of thing, and I think I've probably played a dwarf the least amount of times in my time, because it's, again, while I like the dwarf and I like the idea of them, and they're just a character concept that doesn't sort of click in my mind and fit in with some of my concepts. Like I think I default definitely to human and elf more than I default to anything else. And I'm very partial to the gnome as well. I actually quite like gnomes, which is weird because gnomes and dwarves, I guess, and a gnome's like a dwarf without a beard, right?
I haven't really played anything other than human, and
Right.
I've mainly only ever played humans.
Racist.
I should broaden my race horizons.
There is one class that I absolutely don't get, and I never think I will get it mechanically or classic, the vigilante. What the shit?
Oh, I love the vigilante.
What the shit? No way.
I have been building a vigilante lately, and I am loving the idea.
How are you going to play that?
Them. Look, you probably need the right type of campaign. You certainly.
We're stuck in a dungeon, and all of a sudden, shit.
Yeah.
Where did you come from? I was hiding behind this rock. Where's the other person? They're now hiding behind the rock. Like, how is that ever going to play?
I think if you're playing the right type of
You
thing,
need
like
an
if you're in
urban
Curse of the
setting
Crimson Throne, where they
Right.
came from, or if you're in an urban setting, like that's where the vigilante comes out as its own, because you can play a charismatic character and then you can totally turn into Batman.
But you're never taking that character out in a dungeon crawl or out
No,
into
because
the
the Batman
bush
version of
or-
that character
Maybe
is
you
what
need
you
like
take out.
a bag of holding as your phone booth. So you step into your bag of holding.
The premise that everyone else has to put aside their belief that, yes, this character has disappeared and a new character is here, and you absolutely have to believe in that. It just seems like such a fallacy at the table.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to play multiple characters at a table. I know from first-hand experience.
There it is.
How about you?
Poor Justin.
How about you, listeners at home? Write in and tell us what classes you like and what classes you would like to see us play at some point.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed French.
I think it would be a really interesting game if we actually went and played the classes that we least like. Because while I might not like a druid, I could probably enjoy playing a druid. It's just something I don't think of when I go, oh, what do I want to play? I'm very much, I love playing a good high dex character. That is, like the swashbucklery type character is really my type thing, or the bard, or that type of thing.
I would love the idea of playing something that we have we get given the character sheet and that's it. Kind of like how you did it for the when we
No
were
investment towards.
playing. Yeah, that might be something I would reckon would be a good buy me a coffee goal if we ever start a second campaign. Like
Someone else builds our characters.
They build up. They like popular
Oh,
vote
right.
builds our characters, kind of thing.
Okay.
That could be fun.
Yeah, I would be into that because it's, for me, most of the joy comes from developing the character rather than the class and the race and the the abilities and all that kind of stuff. They're sort of secondary and they fill in what the character is and sort of guide that as a background, I guess. That'd be hard for Luke because doesn't he have to stand and look at miniatures and buy a dice for a new character?
I'm not worried about that. It's more the reading of the rules.
Yeah, that's why you don't like spellcasters because it's got extra
very rule heavy.
It's got
Because
extra reading.
only
to
got
it.
to F in the classes.
Yeah, he's on page index. Why does it say I? Index only starts with I.
Acid, that's as far as I got.
Did you get to a swashbuckler?
Acid splash. Huh?
You get to a splash.
He's been drinking.
It was a good. I think that was a good joke. That
Yeah,
was
it
coming.
was. Yeah, never mind.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Okay. Now, gentlemen,
You're fucked.
we're at a point now, a pivotal point in this game where we are about to fight a big bad guy. And we've talked about this before. It's either going to go really quick or it's going to go really long and be arduous and really hard for everybody involved. But you right now are in what I like to think about as a reverse heist. You guys are setting a trap for Skell's gig. You've got the warehouse map. I've given that to you. You've got time in about a day from now. The full moon comes and you are now going to set the trap. Last week when we left it, I asked you to come up with some type of plan. The three of you come with your different plans because I want to see what are the similarities, what are the differences of your approach. I want to know where you're coming from, and I think I want the listeners to hear what your planning session is. Now, I've already written my plan down, so if you think that I'm going to listen to you and change it, I'm not, because I have it written down on a piece of paper. I know how Skell's gig's going to deal and I know what's going to happen. So it's all written down. I can show you the piece of paper right now.
Show me the piece of paper.
Afterwards. But right now, it's really about hearing about what you've thought about over the last couple of days. And I really hope you haven't been talking to each other because I want to hear it here at the table in its entire rawness. So Luke, say Good. He's planned.
I was going to say,
I really like the idea of
we
me hiding dressed up as a kid.
As a kid.
Yep.
Yep.
To lure him out.
Should we roll off and say who goes first?
Sure. Go for it. You were saying you like the idea of dressing up as a kid.
Yeah.
And
And luring him out.
so you want to sort of
I'll be
dress
the bait.
as Agnes. So that was a little girl's name.
Whichever. Yep. With my hairy feet, that's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, you do know that she has blended heritage. We talked about this last episode that she does look like she's mostly human, but from some angles she looks dwarven, and from others she looks like a halfling. So that could be an approach. But okay,
Are we rolling off?
are you rolling off? Yeah,
Yep.
but I'm worried that you're going to cheat off each other. I know Luke hasn't. Like Luke doesn't like to read.
I've
and I
already
certainly
gone. That's
know that
it.
he's-
That's my plan. I'm rolling just to throw the dice.
That's it. I've got one
So
tap.
good. Yeah.
Hello, like Bugs Bunny with some lipstick on. Okay, Lindsay, what did you get on your D20?
13.
What did you get on your D20, Luke?
19.
And Brett, you rolled a D4?
3.
Max damage.
Right,
Reggie's
19.
special.
I guess Reggie's gone first.
Yeah, so I think I covered that when I said about dressing up, but I mean, my aim really is probably, I am the inverted quotation
Bait.
frontline fighter of the party. So I'm all about magic weapon, and let's go for an average of 1 point of damage.
Is your plan to stand and bang?
So what's yeah.
Stand and bang.
Stand and bang.
Yeah.
Right.
Is he, when he comes in,
Yeah, I'm just gonna go at him.
you go, it's
Yeah.
going to be a toe to toe.
Yeah. Yeah, because if he's incorporeal, I can't trip him. I can't do any of my fancy shit. Can't get any of my precision damage.
Mhm.
The only thing I can hope to do possibly is make a weapon, my fists, magical, and then give him 1 point of damage each turn, because I can't crit either on an incorporeal. So
It's true.
All right.
Right. The brawler bit, I get. You're going to hit him with your fists. Is the magic weapon the cleric part of your build?
that's right.
I think you brought everything you've got.
That's right. Yeah.
So, well, maybe before even, maybe what Luke's missing is about the resource pass. Like, do you guys have a death cloak and a wheelbarrow?
No.
What are the resources that you've got that you can bring, the external resources?
We have a bottle of Yeti fur.
Yeah.
We have a lot of nobles' outfits.
Okay.
Maybe we should wear them so if we die, at least we've died in a
We
In your
funeral
goods.
attire.
we do have some shopping time, and if you want to buy a scroll of something that lasts longer, we could do that. You could cast it yourself. As
Well,
a
I mean,
cleric.
the magic weapon lasts for a minute, and I can pop that off 3 times. So if we're not done by the end of that, we're done.
Would you do though a scroll of protection from evil or something like that?
What do I need that for?
For Flopsy?
Yeah.
Can you cast magic weapon on anyone else?
I think I can, yeah. So it's a touch. Yeah.
That will help me.
You got something?
Well, no, it's just that was one of the things I was trying to think of is, again, I can't make any of my shit magical. All the stuff he seemed to save from on when I tried to curse him and stuff. So he's got a pretty decent will. So the one thing I want to get hold of is I want to get hold of a scroll of Hex Vulnerability. And if I can feed that to Tippy, I can then cast Hex Vulnerability as a spell, which will last 4 rounds, which means I can cast Misfortune on him every round until
it hits.
Yeah, but it does every time he succeeds. DC loses by 4. I think it loses. So I got to read that again. But yeah, that's my idea for that is try and get it so I can actually get Misfortune off because that's going to freaking help us a lot.
That's always been helpful.
Other than that, I was thinking of 2 different things. I was thinking, one, maybe Reggie shouldn't be out the front because he's kind of our only other damage dealer besides Flopsy. So I'm thinking Miles kind of would go out the front and be under some sort of magical disguise, or I don't have the ability, or if we had some other way to disguise something out there. Yeah.
Like a bomb.
I didn't think of that. Can you?
That's very pink.
Can we make?
Keto?
Yeah. Can we make a bomb disguised as a thing? So when he uses his devour ability and eats it,
can I make it magical as well? I mean, I could be the bomb. I could take a hit with the team.
Well, you could minimize yourself. I mean, you're already a small character. If you shrunk yourself down small enough, you could jump inside his gullet,
like a fairy,
and then just from inside
set off the flare.
Yeah, like Wasp,
or just re-enlarge.
Yeah, and wear him like a skin.
So the thing is, really, incorporeal creatures. What are they vulnerable to?
Love.
Actually, what can you tell us about the ethereal plane, Justin?
That it's a different plane to the one that you're on.
But they can see and hear the physical plane?
Make a knowledge planes check.
Flopsy, what do you know about the ethereal plane?
Lots.
Ooh, that's not bad. 25.
Yeah, 25. The ethereal plane it's like a shadow version. Oh, I shouldn't say shadow because there is a shadow plane, but it's like a ghost version of our. I'll give you an example of that. You know, in the end of Return of the Jedi, when Yoda, Darth Vader, and Obi-Wan are all, or not Darth Vader, but Anakin are all standing there watching Luke as the Ewoks. Imagine a world like that. It's like a world of ghosts.
Right, so we can't see the ghosts.
It's a plane of kind of see-through etherealness. Like everything is like a mist almost.
So we can't see the ghosts, but the ghosts can see and hear us.
Yeah, kind of.
Good.
We
Everyone
can
heard
see
that?
them though.
Can we?
On the ethereal plane, they're also on this plane, so we can see them. They're not invisible.
Well, the ethereal plane, I mean, the ethereal,
it's a separate plane. So I get
it becomes, you're talking not the ethereal plane, really. You're talking about a creature that it becomes ethereal.
All right. I'm just wanting to make sure that he can hear what we're saying.
That he can hear what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. That means I can cackle.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yes. So Flopsy's had a few more ideas, and I'm going to offer them up in the spirit of generosity, and also in the spirit of don't hate the game, don't hate the player, hate the game.
No, you had it right.
Anyway, so for me, there were a couple of things we needed to overcome. One, Skirlskig needs to come in and believe that he's walking into Agnes on the floor. So there's either a disguise check that needs to happen for Reggie to make that believable, or in fact, a silent image of Agnes on the floor sleeping, which could be quite realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't need to make a sound until he gets in quite close. We needed to overcome his ethereal ability to be on both planes at once, and really that's a force spell. So we need 4 spells for protection, magic missile, mage armor, and shield, and we need 4 spells or force abilities for attack. Magic missile is the one to go to at our level because it's unerring, it will hit, and it will do full damage at this level. I can do that and have that spell and can scribe scrolls of that if anyone else can do that, but I don't think you guys can.
No. So
that kind of gives Flopsy a role, which was to pump out damage round after
Didn't
round.
you also have a wand of magic missile?
That was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think so.
No?
I don't have it right now. If I used to have it, it's done.
It's fallen off his character sheet.
Yep. I replaced it with this a staff of
Magic missile.
So there's that, and then there's the thing of going, all right, well, how do we keep alive? Because it puts out a lot of damage, and you guys will hit half the time and not hit half the time. So what's the usefulness there? Where can we place people? I think we need to go. I was thinking about, can we hide in crates and watch it come in? Should we do some kind of fire that gives it obscuring kind of ability to see? So, if Reggie's up close, it doesn't matter. But if Reggie wants to 5 or 10 foot step away, he's out of spell ability of this thing. I don't know if the Barghest is on both planes at once all the time, or it needs to make that ability happen. We know it's got dimension door, it can get away. So how do we stop that? I haven't overcome those things.
About hiding as well was if he has scent. Since he's part wolf,
and I think part wolf is likely. It's likely, right?
Well, we just get away with that by rubbing ourselves in excrement or something like that. Right?
Is that like hiding from a predator?
Yeah,
and putting mud all
more
over you, except it's crap.
Like yeah.
So one of the ideas I went for you guys, and I won't play your characters, but Flopsy I think is going to be busy doing magic missiles and throwing bombs because that's high damage output, and I think that's what we need to do. He's going to be very vulnerable while he does that to attack, so we need to distract the Bloody Skulls gig from doing that or doing something else like escaping. So something like compel his hostility and kiting him, or putting him in a pit he can't fall down on the ethereal plane, something like that, containing him somehow might be useful. I don't know what to do to make that happen.
Have you given thought to your surroundings? Like, I know, Luke, your tactic is just let's hit him head on, but you do know the field of battle. So your one advantage here is, you've got two real advantages that you have. One, there is the element of surprise that you don't know that he doesn't know that you're going to be there. And number two, you know the playing field. So you know where this is going to take place and you control both of those things.
You're right. So I think we should set up some logs and get some Ewoks on board.
Yep, nope.
The issue is as well, though, like if we set up too much, he can dimension door, we can't. So we've got to make sure we don't do it. I legit was talking about being in a crate with just like a little peephole, because all I need to do to cast is see and for him to be able to hear me.
Similar with Magic Missile. I can pump that out
so I
through
can
a
just
hole
be
in
like
a crate.
in a crate and just be like, come get me, bitch. He has to like break into the crate to get me. But, then if he takes Reggie and wants to run, then I can't really chase.
Right, you're in a crate with a peephole shouting stuff. You're in a crate with a peephole firing.
And you're just out in the open.
And I'll just stand in a crate with the glory hole. Serve as the distraction.
After Skulls Gig will be done, will be the gory hole.
Well done.
So here's a question about for the magic users. When you're talking about getting a scroll and feeding it to Tiffy, what kind of level can you go up to with that? How does that work?
Well, it's just how I learn new spells. So I can learn level 1 and 2 spells at the moment. Well, I can cast level 1 and 2 spells at the moment.
Is that including from scrolls? Is that how?
Yeah,
the rules work?
it's very similar to a wizard putting spells into a spell book. So
Right.
if a wizard finds the spells, I believe you have to make a spellcraft check,
Yep.
like a wizard does, but instead of it going into a spell book, it goes into your familiar.
So you can do that as a spellcaster too.
Can I? I'm just looking at Spirit Bang Blade. I think it's a level 4 spell.
But
Which just
so-
makes the
so the-
gives the weapon ghost touch.
No, because where do your spells come from? Cleric?
Oh yeah, I can do that. I'm just looking at
Yeah.
just spells generally. I want because you two have got more of a magic.
So
penetrant.
Flopsy can scribe scrolls, and one of his plans is to scribe a bunch of scrolls.
but only up to a certain level. Yeah.
That's down to time and price. So anything under 200, I think, gold pieces is 2 hours a scroll.
Okay.
And a magic missile first level spell at first level, which is what he can cast
Yeah.
anyway, is I think 12.5 GP or something. It's not 37.5 GP. It's spell 12.5 GP by spell level by caster level.
Well,
So-
the other thing to help with the money thing is I want to sell that stupid wand.
Which one's that?
The stupid monster summon one that lasts one round.
Right.
The dog one.
Yeah. Like, that's never going to come in useful. That takes a full round to cast and then it's only there for one round. We might as well sell that and get some money and use that to buy some shit.
I'm not sure we've got time in one day of shopping to palm that and get other things. We've got about 700 gold in the party plus whatever we've got on our people. That should be enough to tool up. I couldn't find any potions or anything mundane that would help in this space because of the magic abilities, except for things like Alchemist Fire. That fire will still burn it.
Okay.
And will continue to burn the round after. That stuff could still be useful. And I'm not sure, Justin, if we know whether on the ethereal plane, whether elemental damage like fire or cold or sonic still does full damage or not.
Yeah, you're totally right. You're not sure.
I also don't know, does...
Great.
Yeah.
None of our checks told us that. And
None
when I
of your
threw a
checks
bomb
told
at
you
it
that.
and it didn't, like, none of that.
Does going in the
apparent.
ethereal plane also get rid of things like entanglement and stuff?
It's no longer on the material plane. So if the thing that's entangling it is on the material plane, then it would be phasing out of that. And be able
things
to
like
move.
entangle and
Web, entangle,
there's no
all of
point
that.
because it's just going to hinder us more than anyone else.
I wonder if something, though, like there's that spell that you can anchor their shadow to the ground. That shadow would be on both planes feasibly. Whether the spell goes with it or not, I don't know. But that could stop it, right? It can only move a certain amount. I can't remember that spell, but I'll
Shadow
find it.
trap?
Shadow Trap, perfect. There
What
you
about,
go.
is it susceptible to like silver
No, it's a
weapons or
witch
anything
spell.
like that? Or a cold iron? No.
So a ghost touch weapon would be useful here, but that's way out of our price range. Is it, Justin? I think that is out of our price range. We wouldn't be able to find ghost touch weapons in town right now, right?
You could certainly find. Like, I mean, it's a big city, so most of the stuff you're looking for is available around the place. So it's not really something that's too hard to find. Everything that's sort of in your player's handbook is readily available.
So ghost touch as a spell is a 9th level,
Ooh.
not cast level 9. To add that to a weapon, sorry.
Well, this is why I was talking about Spirit Bane
It's a-
Blade. If Spirit
Yeah.
Bane Blade is a level 4 and it gives the weapon Ghost Touch.
Right. Well, so that's useful. Otherwise, it's a +3 bonus, which is a lot. It's
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of gold.
Because I remember on a Paladin build, you can, when you have the bonded weapon,
Mm-hmm.
you can
can
get
pump
Ghost
it
Touch
up.
on it. Yeah.
So you do know that magical weapons, you've got to make the weapon a +1 weapon
Yep,
first.
before you
then
can do
you've
anything
got to
else.
pay to essentially make it whatever that next plus is. So it's going to be the price of a minimum +2 weapon to buy a ghost touch weapon, which is going to be
Like $4,000.
It's a
$5,000.
+3 bonus.
is ghost touch +3.
Ghost
you
touch is
sure?
a +3
So that's
bonus.
a +4 weapon
Yep.
that you would need to
It's
buy.
it's a significant piece of.
So we've got enough for that
hardware.
then. Great, let's go. Just a couple more zeros on that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think maybe it's scrolls and potions are your arsenal in this kind of thing.
I would encourage us to buy things that we can throw at it from a distance, and I would say Flopsy would encourage people to keep their distance from it.
That's a dex-based thing, isn't it? I can throw
Yeah.
stuff really well. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. I got some guiding questions that I guess I would like you to think about. Number 1, what are your defensive abilities versus this, and how are you going to bolster your defenses versus what you know of Skellsgig? So what things have you got in terms of defense, hit points?
This is
armor
where we need
class, all
protection
that
from evil to try and avoid being charmed again.
Protection from evil is a +2 bonus for armor class and charm mind affecting abilities. Mage armor +4, shield +4.
Mhm. Mage armor won't work if you're already wearing armor, though.
It will replace the armor bonus that you have.
So
Yeah,
it'll
sure.
come up to 4
But-
max.
When a ethereal creature can bypass armor,
Mm-hmm.
mage armor will still defend you.
So I can pump us all with protection from evil, but that'll be my spells done because that's 1 each. That's 3. I've only got 3 slots.
Right. But you need a magic weapon. So as I'm saying, get
Oh,
three,
as well, yeah.
get 3 scrolls of protection from
Oh,
evil.
okay, yeah.
And keep the things that you want to keep. Like, are they an hour level or are they a minute
A
level?
minute a level.
Yeah, right. So we need to also go, we know when it's coming. Is there a lookout outside to give us a little bit of time to buff those minute spells rather than just sitting here waiting for it to get to us and then going, oh shit, now I've got to buff while we're in combat.
Mm-hmm. What other? Okay, so that's your sort of defensive capabilities. Luke, do you have any defensive capabilities that you can sort of add to the party or to the pool?
Only the protection from evil, I think, is really about the limits of what I can actually enhance other than, yeah.
Now,
So-
last time I made you big, you didn't like that, right?
Just because it dropped my AC considerably, but to be perfectly honest with you, this thing's probably going to hit me but no matter what. So
Oh, yeah.
It
would
drops
make-
your to hit as well, though, doesn't it? Because it diminishes your
Yeah,
dex.
it ruins your dex.
mm.
It would increase
And don't
damage,
you do
but it
dex
wouldn't-
to
Yeah, that's the
damage?
thing. So what would happen is best case scenario, that gives me maximum of 3 damage. on the roll.
Oh, the Reggie 3.
Yeah. As opposed to 1
Okay.
with a D4.
Is that the 50%?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
Because it's a D6, not a D4.
Okay. Have you? What about? Okay, but let's swap to offensive then. What have you got to bolster your offensive abilities to damage Skellsgig? What are you going to do to help
Sorry.
yourselves there?
Just before we move off defensive, I'm interested in you guys finding a way to protect us against his mind affecting abilities because Flopsy's got none of that.
Well, that's protection from evil. We
right.
basically need that.
Is there anything else in terms of will save or any of that kind of stuff that's useful?
Not that I have on my list.
Okay. And then the other one in terms of a debuff, the ray that I got him last time that killed his strength helped, I think. There was 1 or 2 attacks that it diminished his attack so that it didn't hit us. Something in that space.
He
might be
didn't
useful.
not like that. I know that because the GM didn't like that either.
So something that might reduce his strength or his dex or his will save, his wisdom might reduce his caster level or his attack ability. But what we don't want him to do is charm someone again because that's a problem. We don't need to be fighting ourselves as well as him.
Although, that said, maybe if you fought each other rather than him, you might stand a better chance.
Splash damage and do more damage on him than normal damage.
Well, you could always just pour a whole heap of bombs on yourself.
Well, that was something you guys said I didn't even think about, the bomb. If we
Bomb inside a corpse.
Well, if we do silent image and use that image to cover a whole heap of alchemist fire, then it's one bomb and a whole big lot of kaboomy.
Here we go.
That's possible. We know that that's possible from an encounter in the past where the Black Cross went up in flames.
That's true.
Okay, so if we flip over to the offensive side of things, so what are you going to do to pick yourselves up in the offensive world? So Luke, you're talking about really just going toe to toe with this guy. What's your offensive spells?
Just magic weapon. Just
magic
flurry. No, I don't even think I use the karma, actually. I'll just go magic weapon on my hand.
It will not work on your hands.
You
You'll
need
have to use
magic
magic fang.
No, that's not right. A monk's...
Yeah, I can do it with a monk unarmed.
Oh, okay.
It's considered
It's considered a weapon. Yep.
I did read a rule.
Did you? Or did you just listen to
No,
Brett?
I read it. Literally, I was sat here before you guys turned up.
Have you thought about a ball strength that might up your damage?
Yeah.
I actually have a potion of bull strength.
There we go. Like if you can up your strength, then you've got to do some more damage. And that's going to also increase, it's not your to hit, but it will increase. Do you add dex or strength to your damage?
It is strength.
So strength to hit, damage.
No. Dex to hit, strength to damage.
Yeah, okay. So a bull strength will get you up from that 1 to a higher number.
You don't have to use your dex to hit, by the way. You can swap back and use your, just because you've got the ability to use dex to hit. If your strength surpasses your dex, you can always use that bonus.
Yeah.
So if you went large, strength bonus, and bull strength bonus, then you might be able to hit it with your strength and do some like D6 plus damage. That plus your magic weapon, that's a +1, isn't it?
It is.
So that's 1 to hit, 1 to damage as well. All of that incrementally is going to get up there. So 50% of that might be,
a bit more.
3.
It might be up
2.
to 6s. I think you might be getting around, D6 plus ball strength is another +2 to hit, 2 to damage, plus magic weapons 1. Like, you're at 9. That's 4.5 for damage at an average.
Yeah.
Or at 50% on average, and that's 2, right?
Yeah, because I'm not too worried about hitting him. It's just doing the damage.
Doing the damage. What about you, Lindsay? How do you think Miles is going to cope? Like, I guess in the past, traditionally, you are tied up with cackles and hexes and or spells and stuff, or are you going to go down the smacky smack road?
Well, I want to get that. If I can learn that hex vulnerability, I'm going to go try and get that misfortune off. Other than that, I'm thinking long arm to get myself at least a 5-foot reach and inflict light wounds, maybe.
That's that's useful. That'll bypass? Will that bypass? It's a magic attack.
I'd say so. It's magic spell.
It does have a will save attached to it.
True.
So there is a
that's
save.
will save or half, isn't it?
It's a will save for half. Plus you've got to actually touch him. So there's that as well.
We don't think it's vulnerable to sneak attack, do we?
It's not any position damage or anything like that. It doesn't work.
Poop.
The other thing, the one thing I'm confused about how to do is, do I take a scroll of mage armor and use a scroll instead of casting it, even though it's only 1 hour? Do I take a scroll of long arm and use the scroll rather than casting it? Just because otherwise it's I've only got 3 spell slots. I don't have that many spells. It's all about the hexes. And if he's got a will save as strong as he did last time.
Yeah. I wonder if that's why we need a lookout to go, he's on his way.
Well, I've already got
Yeah.
a lookout. His name's Tippy.
Okay.
So if I have him
works.
circling, he can be up flying about.
Can you do message with Tippy or something as a 0 level?
I believe so. I'll double check. But he can be a fair distance out.
How will he let us know to start
He
buffing?
flies back and
Okay.
tells us physically. But I think I do have message.
With the
He's got a bit of a mental connection with Tippy that Tippy
Okay.
can actually send him a vibe.
A vibe of, it's time, you're on.
Mm-hmm.
Your
A
water,
vibe of alertness.
your waters are tingling.
inflict light wounds is only half damage from will save.
Yes,
DC 13.
that's correct.
I can
But-
do the same.
Yeah, I
can
do have
that
message
myself.
actually.
If we can get 2 or 3 rounds, that gets us protection from evil, mage armors, shields, and
What kind of bonus is mage armor?
+4 armor. If you don't wear armor, it's +4, but it's also a force bonus. So
Yeah,
It's a force
it's a
bonus. It's not a
deflection
deflection.
bonus.
Oh, it is a deflection because I got I
no,
can use shield of
mage
faith.
armor is an armor bonus, and shield is a deflection bonus.
I've got shield of faith that I can cast on myself, which is a
Right.
+2 deflection bonus.
Mhm.
What does shield do? Is it better than +2?
So shield is, again, it's a force spell. So force spells should negate any ethereal issues.
Okay.
That's, I think, what Flopsy was thinking, was going, all right, what have we got in terms of force?
Yeah, I'll let you know
Subclass.
deflection bonuses and force bonuses work.
Okay.
So both of those things will work against an ethereal creature.
Okay.
So
Or
yeah,
a corporeal
I do have
creature.
message. So every 30 minutes, the last 30 minutes, and then boop.
And it's
Yes,
0
come
level,
back
so
and
that's all day, right?
Yeah.
And then
It's out
poop,
back,
he
out
poops.
back.
Yeah.
Tippy poops.
I just have to see him. So yeah.
All right, next question I've got for you. What are you going to do about seeing? You're in a warehouse, but you're assuming it's going to be nighttime.
Well, I was obviously going to be dancing lights, right?
No, we brought a flare with us, remember?
Mm. How long's that going to burn for?
Oh, wow.
About as long as we're
depends
going to
where the
survive, right?
Yeah, it depends where the crocodile is.
If this is like a wolf, it will have some form of dark vision. It'll certainly have some form of scent. So at nighttime, it will have an advantage. There is no point in us keeping it dark.
Well, until he gets in there, if he sees it fully lit up, we're pretty kind of
True.
gives us away.
Mm.
But that's why I thought if we have a flare, you could literally, well, one, if we're going with the bomb route, that's going to light it up, and then one of us can light the flare.
I'm thinking the action economy, though. Lighting a flare is one time you're not doing something against it just because we need to see.
But so it's casting light.
Also, you're putting a lot of rules on a flare, which is something I made up. So,
Yep.
which technically was supposed to be a one shot into the air to signal someone. So it's not a flare that's supposed to cast light. It's a flare
we
that's
could
supposed to
cast
signal,
light,
and
right?
it probably would
It's
only
the
last a
same,
round.
same deal.
Cast
same,
light would be the same thing,
Yeah.
right?
same
casting
economy.
light would
But
be
a
the
flare's
same.
cooler.
Type of thing.
Smoke,
Yeah, it'll also burn the warehouse down, but it's cooler.
What's the
Well,
difference?
there's
if
your
the,
light. For sure, it'll last longer if it's
Yeah,
going to burn the
well,
warehouse.
yeah,
right?
start burning shit down.
what's the difference if the place is lit up, though? Do you just not think it would be lit up because then he'll get suspicious?
Yeah, I think it'll get suspicious because it wasn't lit up when we first went there.
You
right?
don't think Agnes might have started a small fire next to her and left it smouldering and smoking, and because she was cold and somehow.
How
that
old
has
is
happened?
Agnes?
Agnes is a small girl, so you would think she's around the kind of 10-ish.
Can your 10-year-olds start fire?
Mine
And-
can't, but he also can't identify a tree.
There is a story called The Little Matchstick Girl. That ended well.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm going like, pull a crate apart, put it next to the silent image of Agnes with a smouldering fire there. There's some light in the room that's reasonable. And she's been there a couple of days. She could have manufactured that somehow. At least it would warrant investigation rather than run away, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Are you going to do anything to the warehouse itself? Are you going to clear it out, move it out? Are you going to do some A-team stuff? Are you going to, do we have to put the music on? Do, 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 do.
MacGyver.
Yeah.
Do wonder if some of those barrels might be a rolling trap that we could release. And then I go, it's not magic damage, so what's the point?
Well, it depends. I mean, can we set 2 crates up at the ceiling that when he goes over a certain space, they come in and squish his head?
It could do that, but it's not magic damage, so it won't damage him. He would just be in another plane. If he's always in both planes at once, I find it would be here's me going, I was sitting there going, what a shit life that every now and every day, every moment, you don't know whether what you're going to do is actually going to be possible because you could be in this plane or the other.
But is it random for him like that?
Well, it seemed like he wanted to grab Flopsy and then all of a sudden he couldn't grab Flopsy, right? So it was random.
Yeah, he flickers between.
Constantly.
So, this poor fella's taking a shit and he can't wipe his ass every half the time. How awful
he
is
poops
that?
half on the ethereal and half on the material plane.
But so I wonder if that's a consistent effect or if it's an effect he needs to put into place, because maintaining that would be awful. It's the blink dog scenario.
We should grapple him. See what happens when you grapple
Can't
him.
grapple an incorporeal, right?
But he's only incorporeal half the time. Do you get dragged into it? Oh.
I don't think you'd go with him.
So that you're punching him on the ethereal plane and I'm punching him in the material plane.
Just punch him in the head.
This planning session's gone for quite a while. So right now, you guys, the three of you, you've talked about it. You've sort of put everything up. This is the time where you've got a plan. You've got 24 hours to solve the case. Guys, hand in your guns and your badges. What are you going to do?
I do want to get some reconcile the kind of, should we be up close or should we try and keep our distance? Because
I'll be trying to keep my distance.
It's Reggie that I'm going, do you really want to be up close or do you want to chuck some bombs at it first?
Oh, yeah, chuck some bombs. Yeah. Soften the target.
So that if we can find spaces around the center of that room to throw down and then you can charge in, that might be better than having you down there. Silent image might be a better way than...
Okay.
I'm also worried about the disguise check and, hey, why does that little girl have a mustache?
Hey, look, it's a charisma check. I'll be all right.
I've got this image in my head right now of a crate and like Reggie just bursting, like running from this halfling-sized crate. Just the door opens and Reggie comes bounding
running up the wall. Parkour!
There are some crates, 20 feet away that would give you a out and at him that I think would work.
Mm-hmm. Any other resources that you're going to draw in, use, anything?
The conch shell?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, Lindsay did say last time instead of blowing a whistle, he was going to blow the conch.
We did say last time that we were going to do 2 perimeters of the guard.
Yep.
One close and one at kind of dimension doory range, so that if he did want to get out, there was a guard that could kind of at least go, he's here and we can continue the chase. So I think that's important.
Sorry, did we all have the conversation about dimensional anchor?
It's massive.
Yeah,
spell.
who can do
we can't
dimensional
it.
anchor?
Yeah, okay.
Is the real question.
Scrolls. I'm still, scrolls.
I don't think we can afford the scroll.
Yeah, it's like 900 gold. I checked.
Guys, you've talked about this for a very long time. You've actioned your plans. You're going to have 24 hours right now. 24 hours. Oh, Brett's got some more to add to it.
Sorry, the other one was knowing he's coming.
Maybe he won't even turn up.
Detect fiendish presence, detect evil, that kind of thing might be useful to go. Actually, we can cast.
We can do that for days, right?
We
detect evil.
If you're a paladin,
but if it pings him off, that's the problem, right?
60 foot, right? I think is the range of that. But through a wall or through I think it's a foot of stone or an inch of lead or something that will stop that. So we'll know he's coming.
The other thing is that we're not thinking about is he might not walk in here at all. He might just go pop.
Absolutely.
And then we're like, oh shit, throw the thing. So,
yep. I think we're going to be ready for that.
I think we don't need to worry too much about planning on whether or not he's coming. We might lose a bit of action economy.
So we're either buffing while he's there and trying to hold him off. He will be buffing too, one would assume. He would be, not buffed up like we've seen him before, if he was. If we get pre-warning, then that's better for us. If not, we've got to know that, I think what I'm saying is Flopsy's going to stand there and cast Magic Missile every round. And that's, a minute of that.
Sounds good.
He's going to trust that you guys are going to keep him off him.
You guys go about your business. The next day you start shopping. There's a whole montage sequence of you sawing, welding, chopping, and then Reg just comes out wearing a shirt with no pants on.
Flopsy scribing.
Flopsy scribing, Tippy flying.
Tippy eating a scroll, hopefully.
Tippy eating a scroll. Let's see. Oh, but judging by that look, Tippy regurgitating the scroll. Oh no! All right, so Tippy also regurgitating the scroll and
how
wasting
many of those scrolls are we buying?
And wasting a fair bit of money.
So Flopsy would have sent you guys out with a shopping list for mage armor and shield scrolls and any magic missile scrolls you can find.
So you start launching into your preparations. You guys have launched your plans. You know what scrolls you want. You know what potions you want. You know where you need to go throughout the day. We're not going to role play this in its minutiae. You just need to tell me once you've rolled how many times. If you fail, you fail. We don't need to go through all that kind of stuff. Just after it, write it, roll it, all of that kind of thing. So We see a moment where Reg is doing some katas and learning how to make his fists magic. We see Tippy flickering lights on and off as he scours around the warehouse. You guys are inside the warehouse getting a really good feel for what's going on here. I believe Flopsy would spend some time studying Agnes if you are going to do to make some kind of replica of her so you can do a magic image of her. Tippy's eating some scrolls as well, while Miles is probably just sitting there laughing and practicing his evil maniacal laugh to get through. We get to a point where you are met by Sergeant Thunderback, and Sergeant Thunderback says, "Here, boys, I know you've got a really big day coming on. I've tapped into my own personal stash." And he pulls out 3 very ornate potions that look like they've had a bit of dust on them that has been just, when you see something dusty and there's still elements of dust on there, and he's tried to dust it off. But these are potions from old, and he says, "These will help you out. Unfortunately, it's all I've got for you." And he puts them, these are potions of aid.
Oh,
AIDS.
That's great.
Everyone's got AIDS. AIDS. So he'll hand you 3 potions that he's got of aid. That
What does that
should
do?
help.
Hit points.
I knew that was coming. I just knew it was coming.
Yeah.
For the benefit of the viewers, of course. Right? That's so the listeners.
I mean, of course we know, but just so people that don't know, could you?
I think our viewers know because we had aid in episode 5, 7, and 9.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So it's extra hit points, essentially. So there's a couple of buffs that it does for you, but essentially it'll make you a little bit more chunkier, and it'll probably try and help you up. And he says, "Look,
Protein shake.
I've organized all the watch. They're going to be standing where you told us in the vicinity. You just tell us when we need to be in position, and we'll do it. Godspeed. Do your best and stay alive."
No promises, sir.
That's the kind of confidence that I like there, Edge. Of course. So, and with that, Thunderback sort of sends you on your way as well. And you can see that he's rustled up as many watchmen as he can. And all of those guys as well are starting to put their best armor on. They're starting to go grab the crossbows and the armory, which is only really short swords, crossbows, and saps, is starting to unfill. At that point, if you do need a crossbow, or if you need arrows for your crossbows, if you need a short sword, or you need a sap, or you need leather armor, those things are available to you. Otherwise, everything else is sort of up to you guys to figure out. He also has put Agnes inside one of the cells, and he's put a couple of guards back here to keep her safe, so that she's not in harm's way as well, and she's stayed well away from the warehouse. Right now, though, what are the main things that you're getting the warehouse ready? So over that course of the day, other than the shopping and that prep, all that prep that we just talked about, are there any changes to the warehouse that you're doing, or any preparations for the warehouse, or anything you need to know around that?
I'm just moving the boxes into more convenient positions for cover.
Yep. So you can start moving. So you can definitely alter some of the things so you can get cover. Most of the, you probably don't want to move them too much, but what I assume that you would do is you would take some of the crates and just sort of push them to the side so they stay in the same kind of space. So when you look at it, it doesn't look like anything's moved, but you get some cover in amongst all of that equipment so that you're moving around.
Yeah, I would like this somewhere within around 30 feet.
Yep.
Of where Agnes and all that will be.
Well, you got the map, so you can tell me exactly where you are, because we are going to be using Roll20 for this, because I want to have a map. I want you guys to know exactly where you are. I don't want to play that game where sometimes you go, "Oh, I don't know where I am." This is where we are going to try and use Roll20. We've done this kind of before, but without working. But we're going to go back and we're going to try and use a map. But we'll still try and let our audience know exactly where we are and what we're doing. That said, though, guys, you need to make your preps, because next week it's on.
Ghost Geek's going down.
Sharpening my pencil, scrubbing some scrolls.
Just getting my D66 ready to roll another character.
That would be damage.